Okay, so this is what we are going to create today. We are going to take a picture of a human and then we're going to cut off their head, and you are going to put a scene on the top of their head. So first we're going to create a new document. We'll just do a letter size paper today. So we have our document. I'm then going to look for a high resolution image of, I'm going to use Daniel Radcliffe. You can use a picture that we've taken, so this can be a picture of someone you actually know. Just make sure you have permission to use their pictures. I'm going to copy this image. Look for something that is got a background that's easy to remove, right? The blue here, I've got a couple different tones, whereas this one here, I've got some shadow behind his head, but the rest of it will be really easy to remove. Okay. I'm going to hit Control V to paste. There we go. I'm not going to worry about resizing it. I do, however, want to take the background off right now. So I'm going to hide that background layer by clicking the eyeball. Make sure I'm on layer 1, and I'm going to go to my wand. We're going to see how much the wand can remove for us. We don't really have to worry about the hair too much because we are taking off the top of the head. So that's kind of nice. So other than the shadow here, this does a pretty good job. So I'm going to delete that. And I like the shadow, so I'm going to hit E for eraser. I'm going to right click, make it smaller. I'm going to soften it so that I can just subtly blend out the edges. Not his face, however. You can also feather this layer, but I'll do it like this because we're going to add a background color as well. So I just don't want a hard edge. Okay, so we'll turn the background back on, double click to unlock it, and then double click it to get to layer styles, and I'm going to do color overlay, and I'm going to pick a gray. Ooh, not that. A gray that blends better with that shadow we have. Just to blend in that a bit. I'm not going to worry about the top of his hair, like I said, as we are cutting his head off. That doesn't sound weird at all. Okay. So now we have our document, our dude, whoever you're doing this with, and now we can start. So on the first one that I did, I put a green field there. You can put anything on there, so we could even look up pictures of waves. We'll do water this time. And you kind of want the picture to be looking from the front. It's going to be, I guess we could do a surfer. A little bit nicer if the view is the same as like the way the person is looking. We'll wait for this to load. We'll try this one. Right click, copy. Control V to paste. So that's nice and big. Control T to transform. I'm going to hold Shift as I shrink it so that it doesn't look silly. I'm going to put that horizon line about where his eyes are. To see that, I'm on layer 2 here. I'm going to bring down the opacity so I can kind of see through that layer. I'm going to hold Alt as I wheel in. So we'll move the water around later. I'll show you how. Okay, so now we have this water. I'm going to hide the layer by hitting the eyeball. Then you're going to go to your marquise tool. This is the second tool from the top, and select the elliptical marquise tool. And this is where you're going to create the shape that we are going to look like we're taking out of his head. I want it a bit bigger. Control D. Okay. Okay. So now I have this shape. I'm going to hit Control Shift I. That's going to invert the selection. So when I hit E for eraser and I go to layer 1, I can erase outside of what I've selected. So this is why I wasn't worried about his hair looking silly when I took the background out. Okay, those little hairs we'll fix later. Okay, so before I deselect, I'm going to hit Control Shift I again so that I have that inside shape selected. Then I'm going to go to that layer, the water layer, turn it back on, make sure it's on top, and with that selection you're going to hit Mask. So that's going to mask it for you. Now, I don't really like where the water is here, so I'm going to unlink it, click that layer, and you can actually move it around. I'm going to turn up the opacity so I can see. Kind of want more of that water detail. Okay, hit enter. I don't know if I like that. Okay. Once it's the way you like it, you're going to turn the lock back on so that it's all together. And perfect. Okay, so now we have his head chopped open. Now you kind of want to start adding things to make it look like something is going on in there. So maybe we could put a boat. Now, if you're taking the background out of an image anyways, you might as well look for a PNG. A PNG file is a file that has no background. So I'm going to search that. Now you can't copy and paste PNGs. You actually have to save them and bring them in. So let's see. Maybe we'll look for a surfer, because that's not really boating water. And there's actually websites too. PNG tree is pretty good. I want a real surfer. The Silver Surfer. Okay, so you see how there's that gray and white checkered background. That means that this is a PNG file. Now, it's not a very big file, but because we're just putting it on the top of his head anyways, I'm going to try it. So you're going to have to hit right-click, Save Image As. I'm just going to throw it onto my desktop. And then you're going to click and drag that guy into Photoshop. I'm going to hit Enter. Control T to shrink him. Okay, now this isn't looking like it's fitting very well. So if you hit Control T and right click, you can actually play around with the perspective of things. That doesn't really help me. Maybe warp. No, I don't like that. I would have to remove that background, though. This might be interesting. Save it. And click and drag it in. Okay. Okay, I think this might work better, but we're going to need to build up the waves. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to download a brush. So brushes in Photoshop are really useful because it helps you create realistic looking shapes without actually having to take pictures apart. So I'm going to look up waves in water, Photoshop brush, and I'll spell it correctly. Okay, Brush Easy is a really good one. Okay, let's see. I don't know. Let's see what else they have. I think this is kind of what I'm looking for. So I'm going to hit free download. And you guys can do this on your school computers too. You don't need admin privileges or anything. So what you're going to do is you're going to click the file down here. You're going to get this. I suggest you throw that on your desktop. Close it. Now you're going to go to your brushes window, brushes. Click your little box. You're going to hit load. Now you're going to go to your desktop and hit load. And then hit done. So now I'm going to create a layer behind my water layer. And I'm going to hit B for brush. Now with my brush pulled up, let's see what these water ones look like. I'm going to hit I for the eyedropper to select one of these blues. Okay, B for brush again. This might not be what I want. These look to be like flat. I want actual waves. Okay, so that brush pack didn't really work out. I'm going to look for a new one. Let's just look up waves. Lots of water. Usually the new brushes show up at the bottom. I think all these water ones are just flat. You can see here I have some cool smoke ones that I downloaded. So it like creates a smoke effect. So I'm looking for something like that, but with water. I have a lot of brushes. But none that are waves. I could look for waves as a PNG. Premium. I don't know if they'll let me download that. So let's try this PNG. Maybe this will work better. We can't find a brush. We're going to use brushes to create the sky. There's a cool cloud brush that you can get. Now, I like that, but to have it match. So the basic idea is you want to create something that's going on in their head, and then to make it look like it's connecting, you create something that's going to hang over their head as well. So I would create, once I figured out what I wanted on top of my person's head, this kind of looks silly still. But I'll show you how to connect the face to the cutout a little bit more realistically. I'm going to make a layer on the very top. I'm going to hit B for brush. I'm going to find my water droplets. It's ginormous. What color is it? It's blue. Okay. But I can tell my opacity is at 11, so that's no good. Alright. Now it's upside down. Darn it. I could hit Control T and flip this over. Or I could go into my brush preset and flip it that way. So, not liking the way that one looks, I'm going to hit I for eyedrop, select the green. No, that looks super fake. Okay, let's just keep trying. That's ginormous. I'm going to select maybe. Doesn't look watery either. So it's all going to be trial and error. And it's going to depend what you put on the forehead in regards to what's going to look natural coming off of it. On this one, I added some grass. I downloaded a grass brush and added the grass. I'm not a giant fan. I think I might like it without. But you can see that I used some clouds. I downloaded a cloud brush and added some clouds. Ron, he was a PNG I downloaded. I didn't even have to remove the background. This layer was a layer of trees that I then changed their colors with an adjustment layer so that it matched the grass better. And then behind everything is the Quidditch pitch. So it's kind of up to you what you want to add. But it's just that cutting off the forehead and creating a different background. But it is going to look more realistic if you can add something pouring off of it. But I'm having a very hard time with this brush pack, so you guys can play and figure it out. There we go. There's poor Daniel Radcliffe with a head full of water. Not even good water. Definitely looks better over there.